Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, but deep down you feel something is missing? You're busy, you're responsible, you're showing up, but deep down you feel like you're just, moving through life on autopilot. That's exactly how I felt until I realized that something had to change. Not my whole life overnight, but how I was living it. In today's video, I want to share the principles I live by that helps me live more intentionally, more peacefully, and with a stronger sense of purpose. Please note that this isn't about perfection. It's all about alignment. And if you're on a journey to personal growth, faith, or becoming a better version of yourself, this video is for you. Living intentionally didn't come naturally to me at all. And like many people, I was just reacting to life, work, responsibility, expectations, expressions, and so on. One day I realized that I was busy but not fulfilled. I was productive but disconnected. I was physically present, yes, but I was mentally exhausted. And intentional living means living your life on purpose and not letting trends, circumstances, or people decide everything for you. So these principles became my anchor. They guide how I make decisions, how I show up, and how I protect my peace. So the first principle I live by right now is 1, I don't rush my life. And I would say that's one of the biggest principles I am living by. We live in a world that constantly makes us feel like we are behind in career, behind financially, behind in relationships, behind in success. But I have learned that growth has its own timing. And I try to always remind myself that just because my life doesn't look like someone else's own doesn't mean I am failing. Slow progress is progress. It may be slow, yes, but yeah, progress is being made. Quiet seasons are still purposeful. Personally, when I stopped rushing, I started enjoying life more. I started enjoying each step I take in my journey. And to be sincere, that alone changed everything. The second principle I am living by right now is choosing progress over perfection. Perfection is an illusion. There's nothing like perfection. For me, there's nothing like perfection. The word perfection keeps people stuck. It convinces you to wait until everything is just right. Everything is perfect. That's what it does. But life doesn't move that way. Personally, I have learned to show up even if it's not perfect. Even when I don't feel fully ready, and even when I am still learning. You should know that small, consistent actions done imperfectly always beat plans that never started. Progress builds confidence and perfection builds fear. The third principle I'm currently living by is protecting my peace intentionally. Like I have said previously in all of my videos, my peace is not negotiable. And what does that mean? Not engaging in every argument, not explaining myself to everyone, not reacting emotionally to everything. And I have learned that peace is also a form of self-respect. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. And not every situation needs your response. Living intentionally means knowing when to walk away. And this is not because you're weak, but it's more of the fact that you value your emotional and mental health. Fourth principle I am living by is I live by values and not trends. And people that know me very well know that I'm that one person that can never be pressured by peers or by things I see around. And I think that has guided me and helped me this far. I don't live my life based on trends, social media pressures, or external validations. What looks good online isn't always what's good in reality. If I do some certain things, I ask myself, does this align with my value? Does this support the life I am building? Or does this bring me peace or pressure? Living intentionally means choosing what aligns with who you are and not what impresses others. And the fifth principle I am living by is I let go of what I cannot control. I let go of what I cannot control. One thing that brought me peace was learning to let go. You cannot control people's reactions. You cannot control how others perceive you. You cannot control every outcome in life and so many others. What you can control is your efforts, your attitude, and your consistency. Once I stopped trying to control everything, I began to have energy for what truly mattered. Letting go isn't giving up, it's trusting the process. The sixth principle I am living by is I see discipline as self-love. I see discipline as self-love. I used to think discipline was punishment, but now I see it as a form of self-love, self-respect. Now, discipline is showing up when motivation feels low, keeping promises to yourself, and choosing long-term growth over short-term control. When you live intentionally, discipline becomes a tool and not a punishment. When you live intentionally, discipline becomes a tool and not a burden. It creates structure, it creates freedom, and it creates confidence. And the last principle, which is the seventh principle I am living by, is I anchor my life in faith. Faith is a major part of how I live intentionally. When life feels uncertain, faith gives me direction. And when sometimes I feel overwhelmed, faith gives me peace. I have learned that purpose isn't something you chase, it's rather something you align with. And putting God first helps me navigate life with clarity instead of pressure. And I'll leave you with this. Living intentionally doesn't mean that life becomes perfect. It means you stop living by default and start living by choices. And these principles don't make me better than anyone, no. They simply help me live a life that feels grounded, meaningful, and aligned. And if this video resonated with you, you're probably already on the path of intentional living, even if you don't have everything figured out yet. And if you enjoyed this video, like it to support the channel. Subscribe for more intentional living and personal growth content. And comment below which principles are you trying to live by this year. I'll be expecting to see all your replies. My name is Tonia Idamye. Bye for now.